Hey everybody, it's me, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Today, I would like to read to you a few excerpts from my book, Revelation 23 and 1. I know that it's backwards for you, but I think you could get the point. But I wanted to read to you a few excerpts from it because I feel like it's a very eye-opening book, just not for my readers, but for me and for anybody who wants to be able to tell their own story and tell it in such a way that you're unafraid and that you do not have any fear of retribution of any kind whatsoever. So sit back, take a chill, and kind of listen to what I have here. So here, I'm going to start. It is with great humility that I submit to you this treasure trove of my most intimate thoughts by way of reflective essays. Penning these essays to paper has revealed a tremendous amount of angst and an abundance of courage of which I never knew I had prior to 2012. I do not seek to baptize you in a sea of mine own rhetoric or to indoctrinate you, but I do seek to rally you to restructure your thoughts and to become truly authentic in every thought, word, deed, move, and breath. These essays do not yield to reticence, but to self-assuredness, and speak to my arduous journey through a treacherous field of opportunities missed and attempts at greatness through the world's eyes. Passivity has no place inside the pages of this collection. I will bellicosely tackle some issues, share some experiences, and reveal some beliefs that won't cease to rock you to your respective cores. The time is now to share some of my deepest pains, pleasures, passions, and epiphanies, as life is only a breath and a breath away from death. In that, I have come to have a whole new awareness in 37 years of life. I beg of you a chance to gain an understanding of my volatility, victimization, violations, and subsequent victories. For once you have read and taken this journey along my peppered past and my present precipice, I pray you will fully develop a new self-awareness completely unmarred by the societal, historical, religious, and personal sewage that pollutes us daily. Don't let your truth be impugned by naysayers or muckrakers. Find truth through your own experiences. Find light in the darkest of places. Find peace in the midst of your troubles. And find joy where there is no sign of it. My good-naturedness was not enough to negotiate my immunity from being a sissy. Throughout my whole life, I still contemplated what constituted a sissy. What made me a sissy? What were the overreaching attributes of a sissy? The realities of being associated with such a word made my life reek of deprivation. There was no obvious escape route, just more roads that led to judgment. Valleys of villainous, vicious people awaited my arrival, so that they could call me out of my name and make me feel lower than I can imagine. And I had a pretty vivid imagination. I was bullied by some of the best too. They really knew how to drive home the destruction. These bullies had been bred well. The very world which had conditioned me condemned me. There was no room to display my idiosyncrasies. The world required masculinity, a deep voice, a man's body, athleticism, a player, a Christian. Much to my chagrin, I was none of those things, and I had none of those qualities. No matter how hard I endeavored, I didn't live up. I failed miserably at making myself into any of those stereotypical molds. They were simply not innate. I never possessed the qualities by which to erect a premise for them. The reason is because I was meant to be who I was meant to be, not what my family, my community, or society projected that I should be. In the meantime, I hadn't deserved the unfair treatment. My experiences with dads had not been the best. My biological father was an enigma to me for 17 years. There were only pictures in a photo album, yearbook, limited stories. All I knew was that he was a good-looking, smooth Phi Beta Sigma from Greenwood, Mississippi, and had attended Alcorn State, and his dad was a doctor. His dad was a PhD, but I'd only find that out much later in life, for I had always believed that he was a medical doctor. I knew I had at least one sister whom I'd seen at least twice, but I hadn't known whether she knew if I existed. The last piece of information I possessed was that he was married to the mother of that said sister, and they all lived on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I would be about 9 years old when I was forced to give up on my dream that my biological father would ride in on a white horse and take me away to live in a fairy tale land that I had concocted in my head. He would protect me from being called a sissy and being chastised for being different. Somehow I always thought he would do that for me even though he hadn't done it theretofore. As a kid, hope was all I had, and I didn't give up as easily as I had been conditioned to do as I aged. I held on to what wish of my dad that I had in my head to rescue me from this life that I had been forced to live as a result of his lack of protection from this bitter, cruel world. Church had been woven into the fabric of the Black community, much like thread through garments. Like thread, it is tightly sewn to hold together pieces of fabric in order to ensure a certain fit. Like clothing, churches are as ubiquitous as grass and as oppressive as cages. I find the church both irritating and beguiling at the same time. It has been able to do what no other institution can successfully purport: change minds. The very word church now sends a bone-chilling gust of cold air up my spine. For me, it has become synonymous with brainwashing, tyranny, hatred, and self-loathing. Ideologically, I can understand its existence. The need for structure, guidance, and regulation of the spirit can compel a person to want to meander in the hallowed vestibules of a church and its sanctuary. So it is with an understanding heart that I deconstruct the church and religion. In this chapter, I do not seek to condemn Christians or Christianity, for that would make me no better than the hypocrites about which I will write. Even though the Bible speaks against judgment, not only does Christianity promote judgment, but it also enables it. I don't sit in judgment of people. However, I do sit in judgment of any doctrine that causes people to be grounded deeply in hypocrisy and hatred. The present state of education is forcing stakeholders to stumble in the dark, looking for light through any crack. Those cracks are plentiful, but the light is elusive. There is still a disconnect in education, which is a permanent blight on the institution, and it has a negative effect on children. So many of our children suffer from the mismanagement of district schools and funds. There needs to be some serious renovation that promotes transformative education. Transformative education embraces modern-day philosophies, practices, and technological advances that allow for more freedom for children to learn and to participate in their learning versus being indoctrinated and manufactured like robots and puppets. The ideal atmosphere is an unrestricted environment that is safe from bullying, sarcasm, taunting, and tyranny. Children should be encouraged to take complete ownership of their learning through inquiry, application, discussion, acknowledgement, participatory efforts, and forward thinking. They need to be stimulated and engaged by lessons that promote cultural identity, individuality, joy, self-inventory, and self-discovery. Allowing teachers the freedom to write curriculums and design lessons and discussions that are intentional and purposeful and that promote originality of thought can assist in the acquisition of transformative educational reform. Integration is a prime example of aspiring to the spoils of whiteness in a land where whiteness is the norm and every other entity is outside of that. We beg for integration, to be allowed into a space, into a place where we were not wanted. We had an integral need to be acknowledged as the same, as equal. To be equal in and of itself presents yet another opportunity for deconstruction. We have to ask ourselves, equal to what? Then if you add the term rights, there is another element to deconstruct. What are rights? Who gives these rights? And how can they become equal? Instead of embracing the separation, we asked for equal rights. We will never know as our African ancestors knew on the mother continent of Africa what it really means to thrive independently of institutions that neither coveted us nor incorporated us. Now, those very institutions govern us and monitor us. The institution of slavery is posing as the federal government, Congress, FBI, CIA, and the penal system. I could go on, but you get the point about being kept down in our places. Instead of blatantly being denied citizenship, rights, and freedoms, we are being denied them in countless other ways, such as job opportunities, education, and financial independence. If a relationship does not occur naturally, aside from the occasional hiccups and minimal friction, it is not advantageous to remain even if children, property, money, or business is involved. Do not ever sacrifice your happiness for relationships, family, money, or worldly possessions. Children adapt to change better than adults. When they do not, therapy is always an option to assist in facilitating transitions. Money is a dicey subject, but it's better to walk away from a situation penniless than soulless. Lastly, don't try to teach people lessons in relationships, for you may end up being the student, the one who fails. Friendship, my good reader, means the world to me, because it is the state of being that transcends any other relationship that we have with people. Friends do not have to stay around. There is no law of blood or law of the land that compels them to offer their allegiance or their loyalty. To be someone's friend and to remain loyal is indeed a divine wonder and blessing from the universe. The universe designs us to be friends to people because the universe posited that we needed physicalized beings to remind us of the awesomeness of the universe and to never reject its awesomeness. A friend is your tour guide around and through this universe. Friends are there to catch you when you fall, to pick you up when you're down, and to lift you up no matter what. True friends love you for who you are, not who they want you to be. I feel very strongly in my regard for friends because I know without friends, we are inherently incomplete. This chapter on friendship will seek to impart a new appreciation for the necessity of friends and how essential it is for us as friends to model true friendship at all times. When I left the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, the very life and culture had been sucked out of me. I literally could not recognize myself. There was not one shred of dignity, self-worth, or originality. My college education had done its part in creating another puppet, better yet, a robot. I had been educated to go out and be a part of the workforce that assisted some white heterosexual male continue his rule and dominion over this world and my people. Tony Gaskins once said, "If you don't build your dreams, someone will hire you to help build theirs." No truer words have been spoken. When I left college, no one had ever instilled in me the will or the desire to dream big or to be entrepreneurial. There was always this undercurrent of this education will help you find a job that was prevalent in every class that I attended. I hope that some of these things have helped resonate some things inside of you and make you want to purchase the book. But if not, just to make you want to be able to tell your own story and tell it in such a way that nobody can make you change your heart or your mind about it, but you know without a shadow of a doubt or beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's your true and authentic story. So again, be you, be beautiful, and as always, pour positivity into the universe so they may come back to you. Love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.